Hi everyone. Welcome to another day of our devotionals in Ecclesiastes. Today we're going to be in chapters 3 and 4. And kind of the way that the teacher is talking here is he talks about something that he sees and then he'll talk about something that's better. And it's another place where he's just kind of describing how life works, not how it should be. And even when he says, here's something that's better, it doesn't really solve the problem most of the time. In fact, his solution here is to die or not be born. So it's not the most helpful, but I think there's still some good things we can see here. So in chapter 3, starting in verse 16, he says, "Moreover, I saw under the sun that in the place of justice, wickedness was there. And in the place of righteousness, wickedness was there as well. I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for he has appointed a time for every matter and for every work. Again, I saw all the oppressions that are practiced under the sun. Look, the tears of the oppressed, with no one to comfort them. And on the side of the oppressors there was power, with no one to comfort them." So the first thing that he sees is injustice. And we all get frustrated with that when we see the people that have power, when the people that are responsible for making things right, they actually use that power to just give themselves more power and more wealth. It's the hypocrisy that we can't stand, right? And so the teacher is seeing that in his day and is complaining about it. In fact, this is probably one of those clues that the teacher is not actually Solomon, despite the traditional reading, because if it was, then he's the one who could do something about it, right? We could talk more about that if you want in the comments. But the point is, right, the justice doesn't always happen the way that it should. People that are in charge don't do what they're supposed to do. And he does take some comfort in the fact that someday God is going to judge people, but I think he'd probably ask the same question that we would, which, well, what about right now? What do we do when we see these injustices? Do we just say, well, that's how it is, or can we do something about it? Now, you do also see him mourning in the next chapter that the people who are oppressed, there's no one to comfort them, which would make sense, right? That they're under the thumb of powers and people with wealth and privilege, and there's no comfort, there's no justice. And yet then he says something that's really surprising, that there's no one to comfort those who are doing the oppressing, those who have the power, right? So I don't think this is a case of, those poor white supremacists. I wish somebody could make them feel better, right? This is not this kind of simple, foolish, well, there's good people on both sides sort of argument. I think what we need to find here is the balance between calling out oppression and those that are doing it, while also recognizing the humanity of people that are oppressing others. We don't demonize them, but instead we look to see the power behind the powers and to see the way that they're being influenced there. I think it's pointing to this deeper truth, which is that hurt people, right? Nobody is just wholly evil and just decides that they want to hurt other people and oppress other people for no real reason. Most human evil is really just a response to suffering. Sometimes that's real suffering, sometimes it's imagined, but either way, people are usually hurting others because they've been hurt in some way. That doesn't mean that we just give it a pass, right? We have to acknowledge instead that people have caused hurt, but also acknowledge the hurt that they may have endured. And we have to help them get past that. And that's what we have to do ourselves, right? None of us are wholly innocent and none of us are wholly evil. All of us, what we have to do is either we transform our pain or we pass it on. So what are you going to do? When you see injustice that you may be a part of in some way, are you going to pass it on or are you going to try and transform it? Good luck. Peace be with you.